Thank you, Pastor Ewell. I've been asked before we get to the other speakers to just kind of set the table and make sure everyone knows exactly why we are here today. As all of you know, on January 20th, President Obama informed Archbishop Timothy Dolan, the President of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, that the Catholic Church in America has until August of 2013 to provide their employees with insurance that covers sterilization, contraception, and abortifacient drugs. If the church refuses to comply with this mandate from the Health and Human Services Department, various penalties would ensue. The church would be considered an outlaw, a bad neighbor, and its leaders subject to persecution. Archbishop Dolan understood immediately. His ironic response was, "So you've given us a year to figure out how to violate our consciences?" Absolutely nothing changed after the president's false compromise on February 10th. When it comes to the actual regulation, not the political talking points, it was entered into the Federal Register without change. But it's actually gotten worse since then. In March, the Department of Health and Human Services issued another mandate, a final rule regarding establishment of the state healthcare exchanges required under Obamacare. Chief among the concerns with this mandate are that employers, insurance companies, individual employees will be paying for abortions. Make no mistake about it, this fight is not at its core about contraception or abortion or a compromised Catholic Church. This is about the power of the federal government to define what is and what is not the mission of your church, synagogue, mosque, or any voluntary institution. Because if the government won't respect religious liberty, our first liberty, it will not respect the rights, the subordinate rights of free speech or free association. If the federal government is willing to set aside religious liberty in pursuit of a speculative social agenda, we are living in dangerous times. 3 weeks ago, 43 Catholic organizations filed 12 lawsuits in federal courts in an attempt to resist the federal government's intrusion into their various ministries. Those 43 include the Archdiocese of New York and Washington, D.C., as well as the preeminent Catholic publisher Our Sunday Visitor, Catholic Charities, Social Services, Franciscan University of Steubenville, Catholic University of America, the University of Notre Dame, and many others. One can only imagine what Notre Dame President John Jenkins, how he's ruining the day that he invited President Obama to offer the commencement address in 2009, where he promised conscience protection. Never before in our country have 43 separate entities come together to file lawsuits in every single federal court in America. An unprecedented attack has spawned an unprecedented response. It's really that simple. Even if ABC and NBC failed to mention the lawsuits, and CBS gave it 19 seconds. Most of the secular papers that bothered to report on it missed the central point entirely and reported that Catholics were suing because they wanted to deny women access to contraception. We cannot rely on any of the mainstream media to keep this issue before the American people in a way that we would recognize as fair and accurate. Last time out, we chose March 23rd as our first rally, not even knowing the historical connection. On March 23rd, 1775, at St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia, the House was undecided on whether to mobilize for military action against the British. Patrick Henry argued in favor of mobilization. He ended his speech with the words that have become immortalized: "If life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery, forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." We chose today, June 8th, knowing full well the historic significance. On June 8th, 1789, James Madison introduced a bill proposing amendments to the United States Constitution. Chief among them was this. In his words, "The civil rights of none shall be abridged on account of religious belief or worship. Religion shall be nor shall any national religion be established, nor shall the full and equal rights of conscience by any manner or on any pretext be infringed." Thomas Jefferson later summed it up in these words: "No provision in our Constitution ought to be dearer to man than that which protects the right of conscience against the enterprises of civil authority." Just a few weeks before he passed from this world, evangelical giant Chuck Colson said this: "You need to continue to educate people that this is about religious liberty. This battle will not be won in the pews. It will be won over the backyard fences and during kids' baseball games. It's getting warm outside, so break out the grill, throw on some burgers and hot dogs, invite your neighbors over, and start talking." And that is why we gather today, to say with one voice in over 155 cities across the nation that we are not going to run from this fight that has been forced upon us. We are not going to let the media and the Obama administration define the terms of the debate, and we cannot sacrifice our God-given freedom of conscience and religious liberty at the altar of Barack Obama and Planned Parenthood. Please join me now in welcoming to the podium Joe Lippa from the University of Michigan Students for Life, who made this location possible. Joe?